Hi everyone. I have put together this unintended lesson because every time I do shop critiques, I tend to start with a caveat about why I don't spend too much time critiquing your actual designs. So I want to kind of delve deeper into that and share some key insights about creating designs to sell on Spoonflower. Firstly, when it comes to critiquing your designs, I can't say whether what you're creating is right or wrong because Spoonflower has such an eclectic customer base of broad demographics, wanting, various design preferences, wanting designs for many different end uses. So many different types of designs do sell. And Spoonflower is known as having a design for everyone or for every topic. And since you all have your own objectives, which I am not privy to, and I'm conscious of trying not to simply just make replicas of me, because there are so many ways, so many types of designers and approaches that find success on Spoonflower, and you all bring your own unique creativity to the table. I want to focus on guiding you towards approaches that align with your personal goals and strengths. And that's why PSA really works. Yes, we're all working towards a common goal of making an income, a scalable income on Spoonflower, but we're all coming at it from different angles with different approaches. And that's why this community works and we can all support each other because we're going to get there in different ways and we're going to have different customers a lot of the time. So my aim in PSA is to empower you to find what works best for your unique style, your unique ambitions, your shop, and to help you build confidence to stay motivated and find consistent growth. So here are the key things that I want you to remember and focus on when you are building up your business on Spoonflower. Firstly, you do not need to pay for proofs, so don't get hung up on trying to only upload your best work. This is a really restrictive mindset that sets an expectation that may lead you to wanting every design to be flawless before you share it in your shop. And that can increase the potential for you to be overthinking. It creates self-doubt and then procrastination, all of which are going to negatively impact your consistency and your progress. The truth is, best work is very subjective anywhere, especially on Spoonflower. And typically, none of us know in advance what's going to resonate with shoppers. Often I'm surprised with which of my designs go on to sell well. I'll create something that I think is my best work or really good, and it won't sell. And you'll hear that in many of the interviews that we've had in PSA as well. It's a bit of a running joke. Don't kill your uglies. So don't let this mindset of uploading your best work stop you. If you're still working on making consistent sales, then I want to encourage you to approach selling on Spoonflower with a sense of curiosity, experimentation, and most importantly, fun. It is fun. Spoonflower is such a fantastic avenue to really learn and grow and play creatively and refine over time. And this approach fosters a healthier mindset that will get you to create more, to learn from the process, and then adjust based on what's resonating with shoppers once you start making sales. So ultimately, progress over perfection is what drives your growth on Spoonflower and in service design in general. The quest for perfection, it can stop you altogether. All right, number 2. Having a variety of designs and styles in your shop isn't a bad thing. Your shop does not need to look aesthetic. And embracing this mindset in point 1 will see you freely experiment with different themes, design layouts, scales, design styles, niches, colorways, everything. And it'll also mean that while you're experimenting and creating this variety of designs for your shop will inevitably not look very cohesive. It's just going to happen. And it's okay because most designs on Spoonflower are found via Spoonflower search, which means that keyword-rich metadata is more important on each design, is more important than the overall look of your shop or your shop aesthetic. Keyword-rich metadata gives every single design the potential to stand on its own and give it a chance to make a sale. So it doesn't matter what your shop looks like. Rather than worrying about your shop's aesthetic, again, prioritize experimenting and uploading a variety of designs and give them strong keywords that target specific audiences. Now, I'll talk about keywords because that's another point, but a cohesive shop, it can be a long-term goal and it's kind of going to naturally develop over time. You know, your older designs are going to get pushed further and further down the pages. So as you create more work and upload it and refine it and try different things, see what resonates and do more of that, then it's all going to start to look more cohesive naturally. You don't really have to try for it. Or perhaps your shop will always be a little bit eclectic because you have lots of different types of designs that sell, and that is okay as well. There are top selling designers who have very eclectic shops, so that is okay as well. And we can make our shops manageable and somewhat organized to the best of our ability and shopper friendly by bundling designs into designed collections. And we have a whole lesson on that. Point 3, creating only what you like may not be enough to generate consistent sales on Spoonflower. So it's okay to start creating with one niche in mind or a particular design style, or, you know, creating the things that you want to see in the world, because we have to start somewhere. So you can start there, that is fine. But if your metadata is good on those designs that you are creating in that way, and you find that you're not gaining traction with shoppers, then it might be time to try something else for a while. And that's what I mean by experimentation. It's hard to say how long we should persist with any one style or niche. So again, it just comes back to consistently experimenting and perhaps creating a mix of what you want to create alongside what's been identified as what shoppers are likely looking to buy. And Esther Fallon Lau, she mentioned this in her interview, which I have linked below, and I've got the timestamp there. And what she had to say was really interesting, and exactly, I completely agree with it. You'll see in the interview. Ultimately, we are hoping to build a sustainable, scalable income from Spoonflower. So we want to cast a wider net. If things aren't selling, we want to try different things to try and hit, potentially hit different segments of buyers through creating these varied designs. And this usually requires balancing our personal tastes and creativity with, like I said, with market trends. I think just about every shop should aim to have some classic, timeless designs, themes, and colors. Designs that align with trending or popular themes and or color palettes. So you've got your classic, your timeless, your trending, and also plenty of simple blenders. So if you can incorporate those things, you don't need to get too hung up on heroes. Heroes are great if they come easily to you, but they don't to me, and I've still found success. So that's another thing to keep in mind. But this mix, it's going to help ensure that your shop, it can cater to lots of different shopper preferences, and lots of different people are shopping on Spoonflower, and it's going to maximize your reach via Spoonflower search. It can be a bit difficult to market all these different types of designs, so you might pick one specifically that you might market, say on Instagram. On Pinterest, easy to market all different types of designs, so don't stress about that. Pinterest is great for that. On Instagram, you might pick one. But yeah, I would be aiming to have this variety if you are still trying to generate sales. And there are several PSA lessons and resources that can help give you direction and guide you on how to strategically build your shop up in this way. And again, I've listed them all in the lesson description. Number 4, pay particular attention to the colors you choose, since they contribute to 90% of the decision to buy. Now that is taken from a Trend Bible statement, and I can link that below. I've mentioned it a few times now, but this makes complete sense to me. You're often drawn to the color of something before you decide to buy it. So this is probably one of the biggest things that I notice when I visit shops, not just of members. Whenever I'm scouring Spoonflower, I'm often left wondering if the colors that have been chosen, if they were strategically chosen based on insight, or perhaps picked without considering trends, popular color palettes, or what customers are using now out in the market. So if you're choosing colors that you're not seeing anywhere else, like in stores or advertising online, if you're not seeing them shared on Instagram, then you're likely going to reduce the number of people that will find your design appealing, no matter how good your design is. Because if they don't like the colors, they're not going to buy it. If you choose to make a design in multiple colorways, then sure, you can offer some unique colors, or you can try, just creating some color ways that you like. And Shelley kind of suggested this in her Interior Design Insights interview as well, which I've linked below and timestamped. But it's also a good idea to balance that out by offering designs in trending or classic color palettes as well, to make it attractive to, again, a larger number of potential buyers. And Spoonflower allows you to, when you're in the search results, it'll show up to 24 colors in the color options. And I don't recommend doing that for every single design. Use your discretion there. But remember that color choice can make or break a design's appeal. So using insight-driven decisions can significantly impact your chances of attracting more buyers. Again, I've linked all relevant lessons in the description. Okay, number 5, selling on Spoonflower is nothing like pitching a polished portfolio to art directors. Thank goodness. And this is something that I truly love about selling on Spoonflower. And again, in the timestamp that I gave you for Esther's interview, we talk about this as well. So we're taking out the middleman by going straight to the source. Uploading onto Spoonflower, you're going straight to the customers. You're removing any third-party decisions on whether your work is subjectively good enough to be offered for sale to the public. On Spoonflower, you can just have fun experimenting to see what lands with shoppers without any delay and without any permission. You upload it, it is live. You proof it digitally now, it is live, and you can see if people are going to start buying it right away. They may still buy it 2 years down the track, so don't get upset if things don't sell right away. But it's great to not have to pitch for months, perhaps, or not hear anything at all, or have to wait for it to go to market, or just lots of different things. It's just completely different. So you can let go of a lot of the anxiety of perfectionism and the rules and the pressure that often comes with putting together a portfolio that you're going to pitch to an art director who will essentially decide your fate in terms of whether your designs will ever see the light of day on a product. Spoonflower removes all of that. You also don't need to be restricted or limited in how you put together and curate your collections. In fact, you don't even have to create in collections, not even mini collections, not all the time. I do advise aiming to create in collections, but if it is something that's stopping you from uploading, then just upload single designs. If you're motivated to create just one design, just upload it, preferably in multiple colorways. And then in time, you can make it a goal to incorporate it into a collection one day in the future, perhaps, maybe if you get around to it. Either way, it may still sell, and many of mine do, and I've never managed to, some of them have been there for years and I still haven't managed to put them into a collection. Still a goal of mine at some stage when I'm motivated, but a lot of them are my best sellers. And while it can be lovely to create designs or collections based on meaningful, heart-driven inspiration, it's not always practical. And you just may not be that type of person. I am not particularly. And there's nothing wrong with creating designs just simply based on strategy and insight with the underlying intent to make money, or to perhaps quit your day job, which was my driving factor, and which is why I didn't get caught up in stories or anything like that. I was very practical. What does the market need? What do I think the market needs? That's what I'm going to create, because that's probably going to sell. That's going to help me quit my job. Selling on Spoonflower, it really lets you bypass all those gatekeepers and, again, I'm using this word, experiment freely. Whether you're inspired by personal meaning or driven by strategy, it is all valid. So embrace the fun and flexibility, and don't be afraid to approach your business with a profit-minded strategy. It's not icky or gross. It's just how it is sometimes. And authenticity, you're still being authentic, because authenticity, it comes from creating in a way that aligns with your goals, whatever they may be. Number 6, best-selling designs aren't always intricate and don't always take hours to create. Many of my own best-selling designs are very simple blenders, as many of you will know and will have seen. And while they may not be at the very top of the best-selling overall designs on the Spoonflower platform itself, I have so many of these simple designs that consistently sell well, day after day, week after week, month after month, that collectively, they make me a top-selling designer. So it doesn't matter. There can be someone who has a top-selling design on Spoonflower but not be a top seller. So don't get caught up in that. You want to create a lot of designs that sell well a lot of the time. That's really the aim. So if one stops selling, you've got all these other ones. Kind of like diversifying your income streams. It's good to diversify your designs as well. Now, if you're an analog creator using traditional methods to create your designs, then your output is likely going to be far less compared to someone who's whose process is entirely digital. So the best thing that you can do is look for ways to repurpose elements from your intricate designs into simpler designs, so that that way you're not always starting a new design from scratch, and you're really getting the most out of your time investment into that more intricate design if you can pull bits and pieces out of it to make like blenders and coordinates and things like that. Again, I've got an example of this which I link below in a shop critique. So yeah, the advice also applies if you create time-intensive designs digitally. It doesn't matter if they're analog or digital. Just be mindful of how you might be able to create them in a way that you can pick them apart later to create several of those simpler designs as well. Essentially, each new design that you upload, it's going to increase your potential to reach more buyers and therefore drive more sales. Number 7, keywords are just as important as your designs, if not more so. So aside from marketing, most designs are found by customers using Spoonflower search, which gives every design that's rich with keywords the potential to stand on its own, regardless of how cohesive or aesthetic your shop is, which I've already said, but I really want to drive that point home. When you look at each design that you upload, think of it as its own entity. Make sure you really put thoughtful effort into adding keywords. It is worth the time. It's tedious, but it's worth the time. So really look at each design as if it's the only design that you have. For example, even particular colorways of a design can be targeted to different end users. Really put some thought into the other ways that you can target specific markets in your keywords for each colorway of each design. Anyway, I go more into depth into all those things in lessons that, again, I've linked in the lesson description below here. So essentially my message here is make sure your metadata works as hard as you have on your designs, because strong targeted keywords, they are what make your designs discoverable in search. And that is the first step towards making sales. You know, I quiz you all, I get you all to submit feedback when you first join. And a lot of you, one of your challenges is being found. Well, metadata is the way to be found via Spoonflower search. Keywords, strong targeted keywords. And without being found in search, even the best designs will go unnoticed. And I just want to add a little caveat here, because you will see that some top selling designs or designers, they use very obscure or very few keywords, and perhaps their success is tied to factors like effective marketing or long-term presence on the platform or long-standing relationships or quite often exceptional design skills. And honestly, I often wonder when I see them how much more they would sell those designs if the designer understood the full impact and value of keyword-rich metadata. So if you had a big catalogue of designs before joining PSA, it is probably worth spending some time each week going back over the metadata on those designs and updating the keywords in the titles and tags to get more in there. Perhaps set aside 1 or 2 hours and do them in bulk, because I mean, you've put all that effort into creating those designs and uploading them, and maybe it was back when you had to pay for proofs. You want those designs to work for you. And I have been consistently updating my own metadata. It's something I do every week, a little bit each week, and I'm selling designs that have, not been selling. So I can't prove it because I don't have metrics, but I definitely, my sales have increased since I've been doing it. So I think it's definitely worth it. Lastly, prioritize your time wisely. Now, it's not strictly related to your shop or your designs or critiques or anything like that, but it's still very pertinent, because finding time to manage all these aspects of your Spoonflower shop, it can be overwhelming. And I don't want you to be overwhelmed by it. We've just got to incrementally do these things, and it will all build up over time. There's no way to fast track it. You've just got to do the work. So in the lesson on time management for busy designers, I teach you about high value tasks versus low value tasks, and then give you a tool called the Eisenhower Matrix to help you focus on the activities that are going to truly impact your growth on Spoonflower, and help you to prioritize the tasks that align with your business goals and help you work smarter and maintain consistency without burning out or starting to hate it, essentially. Overall, selling on Spoonflower, it's about flexibility and experimentation. Write that on your wall. Experiment, not rigid expectations. So while you are still working to build your sales on Spoonflower, focus on consistent creativity and aim to incrementally improve your designs, your collections, your metadata, and your processes over time while balancing your creativity with strategy to sustain your growth. I hope this is helpful. I'm keen to hear all your questions, suggestions, and I hope that these points will somewhat give you permission to keep going and to really stay focused on being consistent and motivated. Okay, bye-bye.